Hey guys, it's Parker here, back with part 11 of the Great Ace 22 Resolve. Let me just fix up my mic a little. Okay, good to go. Let's continue exploring this museum. We met up with Sholmes. Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mrs. Naruhodo. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? At that kick, could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me. But Runo has something he needs to ask you. A question. And I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So here we are. Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that, and my great brain, upon which all my success have been built, would have turned to wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from the unimaginable laws. Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, do you, don't you? Sorry, my voice is like dying. He could know something that's true. Of all our advances, what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For your own luck, I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry. And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, I'm not mistaken. Really? Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that is related to the matter about which you come to me now. But how could it be? We shall speak again as present, my dear fellow, but for now I must return to my work. What? Back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? Well, I guess I'll talk to him? What is this place? Madame Tusspells came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made for actual real people, are they? The extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular secret of Tusspells' family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guillotine. That sounds grim. The gruesome scenes are portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned. Apparently, the sculptors who make the models directly for the corpse right there at the site of the executions that really turns my stomach. That's just one of several legends about the Tusspells family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum by quite some margin is this House of Horrors. House of Horrors? Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition, but people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here are sent to the gallows, but they're even stiffer now than the models of some. Have you heard of poor taste? My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked. So the hideous exhibitions here are... They're all portrayed as the real events that actually took place. Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop? Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here. Oh, he's back to being waxwork, is he? Temporary waxwork? What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them? Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare him. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them a hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious for the money? He really roared at me there, very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent and the ravenous Iris to consider. Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry. If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruhodo. What's he threatening to rope me into now? So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Maybe some other time. Remember, Miss Naruto, ignore me at your peril. Back to being waxwork again. Is it just me or did his final remark just sound a lot like a curse? Something to ask you? Well, what is it you like to ask me then? Actually, it's about Lord Van Zeke's. Our friend, the Mr. Reaper. How'd you find him? Well, I trust. And so I filled Mr. Jones in about everything I learned. About Lord Van Zeke's, about Professor Hairbrain, and about the strange coincidence that they have been at university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zeke such a different person. I was sure that, you know Hurley. You said that there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before, that something was afoot, and I believe it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Jones, he suddenly conned up. Well, it seems to reach greetings. Hello. Where'd she appear from? Whoa, her theme music though. I like the music already. And what's she wearing? Could she look any more mysterious? Oh no, she's cute. Oh no, she's so pretty. Alright, how do I even voice her? I hope you're appreciating my museum. Sorry, have we? Mr. Jones, do you notice? Not again. Oh no, she's so cute. Alright, calm yourself down. My apologies, I'm Esmeralda Tusspells. This is my museum of waxwork. What? You're dumb, Madame Tusspells? Bien, sir. Though only 26 years, young, I might add. Oh my god, she's older than me. Oh my god. Is that significant somehow? I'm a madame in name only, and has a certain je ne sais quoi. I don't know how to do French. Right. Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular. That would be Mr. Jones then. I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. What? Next time you permit Destiny to exhibit, there will be toil and trouble. Jones, hang in there. She sounds deadly serious. That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Jones about Lord Van Zeke's now? Let's not forget about what Hurley said before. About something being afoot right here in the museum, I mean. Yes, I know, but... Oh god, her theme is even a banger. I'm so curious, let me know what's happening here. Haven't we gotten enough on our plate already? Okay, converse leader, what is your number? Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Tusspells? I did. I'm this third generation waxwork artisans, you know. Gosh! It was my grandmother began the tradition in my family. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Though that is when she acquired the savior fare that leads to the astonishing lifelikeliness. All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. Oh my gosh, her smile is so cute too. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks are created in the presence of the real people on which they are modeled. And hours of immunity following their executions. That is the secret to extraordinary life-likeness. That sounds terrifying. All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade, power excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see. Ugh, why couldn't the public wish for something less horrifying? Do not fear. Sorry? This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you explore. There are models as famous singers, actors, politicians, something for every taste, I hope. It was ours to drive me straighter, come to think of it. Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things. Whew. Second question. Are you single? What's the situation with that? My temporary waxwork model, he approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal. Oh, what sort of proposal? My dear Madame, what these sparse exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective. Or worse to that effect. Naturally, I'm well aware that Mr. Schultz is widely known in London as a talented detective. His great detective actually is very specific about it. Yes, the creme de la creme, so I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms. Let me guess, someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services? For a mere £500, I'll dive into culture wax this very moment? Oh my gosh, Holmes. Or worse to that effect, Mr. Schultz might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch. Regretfully, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead. Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing though, does he? I would think not, but he was very insistent. I have a 50-shilling problem that was resolved by the morning. By the morning. Or worse to that effect. It's a pawnbroker, that's what it is. He must have something to redeem. Is the consulting detective work not going so well? Okay, third question. Can we have some tea later? I wonder, could I ask you something? Be answer. I can't do French, I'm sorry. I'm just curious, is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident perhaps? Whoever suggests such a thing to you. Oh, well, it was, Shows. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's disappeared. A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade. Ah. There you are. Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working? Do you wish to be melted down? Oh, I wouldn't complain if that happened to me. My dear Madame Tusspells, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem was thrown into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police. Why ever not? She's turned as white as a sheet. Because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. Though please be aware that I prefer, no, I insist upon payment in advance. Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we? Before I engage in my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain? That is the Tusspells special exhibit. There's an extra charge to see it. The special exhibit in the House of Horrors. It must depict a serial killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder? Ah, absolutamente none. There is nothing amiss behind there. Nothing amiss, madame? What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? Ah! I sorely encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens. Yes, very well. I'll draw back the curtains, but only a subcon. A cemetery? I must confess, I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Tusspells special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What the strike one, however. What? It's the poorly gentleman lying peacefully in the back of the floor. It looks like a real body. Well, then perhaps this shows that man of divorce is this killer himself. I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman, not even a waxwork, in fact. What? As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they're always distinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in a special exhibit. Why? Why would you say that? And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime. Ah! She looks as pale as candle wax. Haha, get it? I don't understand. So, Madame Tusspells, as you agree to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Alright, great deduction. Topic 1, waxworks fate. Gosh, she's so pretty. To begin with, we must ask yourself what exactly is afoot here at the museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from her bag. In my estimation, some £200. That is all my own money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? Not so as much as the involuntary glance he cast, it would seem, Madame Tusspells. Yes, the answer lies in her eyes of all. The significance of the £200 is revealed by the public notice. Waxwork for sale, your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of £200. None! Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the poorly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, Madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What deal the man's shocking blow was, of course, the £200. It would appear that he twists this gentleman around your little finger most effectively. She could do that to me. What are you suggesting? He rashly agreed to purchase the waxer for the sum of £200. Only when she came to hand the money over did it occur to him what an extortionate amount he was paying, but the money was no longer in his hands. And the result, the scene we see before us, he collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit fetched a killer prize. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. Conclusion, sold for cash. Topic 2, waxwork, location. The question that arises then is what has become the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly... What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find an answer, we need only to observe his neckerchief. Such is sworn at by police as secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? The man is quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's Policing Awards. But next, oops, the mic just shook a little. Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost, in fact, as if you were waxwork. But your reaction only confirms my suspicions, Madame. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. Threepence, a tragically low price, you might say, though perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to poorly gentleman for an exorbitant £200. The sort of plucky behavior that should attract the attention of a Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madam? I do not. Yes, the waxwork we sold has already been seized by the police and remains in custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon. Conclusion. Discovered already. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. She's like, ready. I see I've studied all the science. You have, Hurley, you have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her collagen looks awfully hot. Yeah, she looks hot. If I could just bring up 1 point, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, the notorious Narholder 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow. According to your deduction then, the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So that means the particular ruthless murder, wouldn't it? The killer policeman, older mole. Sorry? It was a mysterious series of murders that routed the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the ether. And it turned out the culprit was the policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Older Mole. So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man there is supposed to be? Indeed, it's a particularly deep grin face, is it not? Unforgettable in fact, yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well. But is £200 all money for a wax model? It'll be enough to afford one of the latest Steam carriages if that puts things in perspective. So it is quite a lot then. Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down, that bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous. She can melt me down. The smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me. Mr. Schultz did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's alright. To make some minor corrections to the great detective's great deductions. Of course it's alright, we'll soon set things straight. Well, let's get started, shall we? Before Madame Tusspells vents her anger. Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Tusspells, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective at a temporary exhibit at work. Alright, course correction. Hold it, Mr. Jones. She definitely looked this direction, it's true, but I'm not sure if she'd sell any of her waxwork, even for £200. Oh, she must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything. For that much money, I would, but it sounds like that makes me a bad person. well, anyway, I wonder if the £200 could have some other significance. Let's follow the further glance again and see if there's anything else that can explain it. What's that note doing pinned on the wall there? Oh yes, let's see. Dear Madame Tusspells, we've taken a prisoner from this room. The price of her safe return is £200. Wow, there's a ransom going on here? Had the money ready by noon on 23rd October. What? It's just like the sort of thing that's left behind when someone's kidnapped. Yes, it's a ransom note. Exactly. Oh my god.
Take that!
The significance of £200 is revealed by the ransom note. Quite so, I must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness abducting a waxwork. Ah! £200 is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it. The model in question is... has special importance, so I put together all the money I have. In summary then, the 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let us explore the next curiosity which we are presented. Who is the poorly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear that the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Oh, whoops, I just read everything that I have read before. Let's skip over that, shall we? We could just ask him when he comes round. I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris. Yes, you're right, her is trying so hard and must let him down. Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock, that much seems clear, but in that case, what's Madame Tusspells trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around. Oh, the shocking bowl is at 200 pounds. What? What? Where are you hiding that? That is not her right hand. Yes, it must be. I can clearly see a left hand after all. Oh, wait a minute. This is a left hand as well. Look. Don't say just creepy things, Iris, please. And it seems very stiff too. In fact, it's really hard. You mean it's made of wax? Oh, I guess we'll present this. Oh wow, her braids are so long. Okay, anyway, present this. What dealt the man such shocking blow is, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial Did she just knock out the guy with the freaking waxwork hand? Oh my god, I have a crush on her. How could you? The hand protruding from the bottom of her cape, it ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that in fact it's the left hand. And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madame. It's the hand of a waxwork model. Yeah! Yeah! Oh my god. Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with exhibits and cause damage. So you mean that arm? Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir. No. Whoops. No, not the court record, the history. No small keepsake, like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms. I'm afraid I have to teach the man a lesson. You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. As a result, the scene we see before us, he was knocked unconscious. She could do that to me. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being, we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit has been kidnapped. Okay. Kidnapped. For ransom. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is assigned to other policemen that some crime is underway. A way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes. It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard. That Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away. Well, uncovering secrets isn't any true detective's nature, of course. Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Tusspells' reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, I think perhaps he might not have identified the man quite correctly. Maybe he's the guy who, said, oh wait, never mind. He's just a freaking waxwork. What the? The man's stuff's getting shorter where his arm should be. Well, that settles it then. Right, this isn't a real person at all. His entire arm's been ripped off from the shoulder down. His arm's been... Of course, that ties in what we just found out. He's a waxwork, statue. Who is this fellow? To find an answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub. No such boneless human walks this earth, of that I can assure you. In other words, the man standing here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact defying all odds, a waxwork model. I seem to remember it was you concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man. Naturally, what other explanation could there be? And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man in the special exhibit, wasn't it? Next, we turn attention to this old man who sat before the okay. A killer policeman called Older Mole, was it? Was he well known? It was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price though. 2 rupees isn't much money. Only enough for a few measly hours of gas and Mr. Garda's delightful lodgings, in fact. I think that's just the price tag for the scarf. So this is a special killer taken from a special exhibit, is it? The waxwork that somebody stole for the museum, I tried to ransom for 200 pounds. Is this crusty old killer policeman Older Mole? Really? Perhaps we should have a good look around again, see if another idea crops up. He's kind of shaking his leg over here. He's very nervous, isn't he? Look at this. The old man's tapping his foot like crazy. He seems to be fast asleep though. Nah, he's not tapping his foot consciously then? So I mean, it must be a twitch. Never mind that. The point is waxworks don't tap their feet or twitch. Look at his arm too. You've seen a scarf like this somewhere else around here, haven't we?
Take that!
The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man's waxwork is the obvious twitch. Even the most realistic waxworks do not exhibit a twitch. In other words, this funny old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard. Slight shift in your choice of adjectives done. And there you have it. Well, Madame Tusspells? Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He is clearly fatigued. He is sound asleep. But then, what's the tag about showing your price is 3 pence? That's a scarf. Note that the price tag the muffler, which the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market. And I presume you observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway. Of course, because as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here, as you deduced from the very beginning, detective. So, it seemed that we finally arrived at the truth. So where are the people who demanded the money? The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped. And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Conclusion. Still a mystery. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary. All sorts of people visit my museum here, men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. Her theme music's great. She's so pretty. Her smile is so cute. Okay. Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe. It was a pleasure, my dear madame. I gratified they enjoyed the spectacle. And as for a rough customer, I no doubt he will regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork for this special display, if it was indeed genuinely abducted. Yes, tragically it was. Then I'll ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork, in as much detail as possible, please. Very well. But after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work. The talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel, but as you wish. Alright, let's talk with Madame Tusspells. Tell us about the stolen waxwork, please. It was some days ago now, when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that a waxwork was missing for the special exhibit here. It is your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains are closed. And I found the ransom note in its place. The culprit must have broken it during the night and taken it then? So this waxwork that was stolen, it was the model of some horrible criminal, I suppose? Of a particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any, I would say, the Professor. Not a name I've heard of. The Professor? So, Mr. Narhold, it seems the circle is complete. Sorry? The Professor case happened around the time I was born, didn't it? Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago, a series of murders that rocked the capital. 10 years ago? Yes, at exactly the time. The Barak Van Zeeks graduated from university, in fact. What? Surely he's not saying. So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life. As you surmised, it was the Professor case. Who was this Professor then? The Professor? It was a series of gruesome murders that had all of London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death. And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent and present on account of the abduction. But I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord Van Zeeks? You must first understand, my dear fellow, why is it that the Professor earns such infamy? It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest. What do you mean, Hurley? Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy, members of the nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves through the country's administration. Members of the— wait, of course, what Professor Harebrain said. Lord Van Zeeks were a family of noble blood. Oh gosh! It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of Clint Van Zeeks. No, I don't believe it. Van Zeeks? I'm sure he could piece together the rest for herself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Barak pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today. I had no idea Lord Van Zeeks has such a tragic past. Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter, for the time being at least. After all, I have work to do. As the waxwork exhibit. I'm afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well. Okay, bye. Oh, yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. What? It's been too long, it really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barak. It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places. I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Asman. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen. Tomorrow, the court will decide. Yes, I have a young Eastern man active for our defense. He seems reliable enough, though. It was an accident, a terrible accident. He assures me he could prove it. I must warn you. Oh, I know, I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you? Yes. Since I returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Barak, are you really... What? Never mind. I know that you have my best interest at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't trust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barak. Until tomorrow then, I'll see you in court. To be continued! Well, I'm actually gonna continue after saving. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court, and now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Mr. Naruhodo, good morning, Professor Hairbrain. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. I've never felt anything like it. It's crushing me. I feel it every time here, that gravity. Well, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me Spit is the kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Yes, well, you won't let me down, will you, Miss Naruhodo? I'm counting on you in today's trial to save my life. To save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public. Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I had to establish an exposure 2 days ago. It's nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. My commiserations, Miss Naruhodo. You appear to have delivered the most tiresome case here. Mr. Scholes, I didn't expect to see you here. You didn't oversleep? That was very mean, Runo, leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him. Oh, wow, are you... Herlock Scholes? Indeed, sir, I am he, Herlock Scholes. Oh, I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst, living in Germany. Yes, Rad's magazine is on sale in Germany, too. This month's installment was sublime. Your deduction in the adventure of Silver Blaze was wonderful. Yes, a memorable case indeed. In concern's sake, I see to recall. No, that was the Speckled Band. Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh, I have urgent business at Madame Tusspells. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. So you're trying to get to the bottom of the ransom though, are you? The week's wages depend on it, as is the safe return of the waxwork naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then, I understand. Of course, well, you're lucky going to see her. I'll be stuck in court here. With my skills of observation reasoning, resolving the matter will be, as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description. Oh, then you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley. Quite, Iris, quite. But life is sort of an irony, you know. Whenever it gets my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh yes, quite, definitely, absolutely, I totally understand. Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Hairbrain. Oh, why, thank you. Before I depart, Miss Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation, such as was attended by the professor at the great exhibition, is quite impossible, but the professor said the demonstration was a success. Yes, it appeared that he firmly believes it was. I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Runo, and I have to say, I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? But how could an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial, no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley. Bye-bye. Well, it looks like you're on your own today, Reno, but chin up, you could do it. Oh, what about you, Iris? No, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something I need to do. I see. Heh, it's gonna be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. That sounds ominous. Council Board of Deep has said to defend the course, but so should make our way to Corvo once. We're on our way. An experiment that the laws of science say can possibly succeed, and the scientist is convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock, Dark Suit. That's the key to this case. Okay, I guess we'll be defending our client alone. In the name of Her Majesty, the Queen hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrain. I now call upon the counsel for prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. I am 6 months out of practice, and what's more, Susato isn't here. I am without Susato sound today. Whew. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I'll say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Aldi Asman. Mr. Asman was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zieks, but the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it, these powerful London criminals have preferred to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, 21st October, Mr. Asman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution, but the fact remains that Mr. Asman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to present the will of the people. The six to be ready to fulfill your societal duty. I'm most grateful to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. Whoa, shit, whoa. Whew. Oh, she's pretty. To have emancipated the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh jolly, it sends shivers down my spine. What's this? Science experience, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials are nothing more than performances. Oh my god! Ready for various doors that defile their reputation signs deserves their hang. Oh my god, what is this? What is this? You have to listen to what's said on both sides said in one. That's it, isn't it? This guy's just sleeping! Wasn't like this my day. Wasn't like this at all. That's the police killer older male or lookalike again. And he's exhausted as ever, it seems. Oh my god. The jurors here look so interesting. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, then so we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the gene of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for spectators. A tragic turn of events and such the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world beyond this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So, your opening statement, please, Lord Van Zieks. At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to prove Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord! It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and being done instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled. Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? Oh, I don't believe it, that's for sure. Disassembling people with electricity, my goodness, how shocking! Aha! The whole idea was absurd. The process should never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you're a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? Any expert in your field?
I am. My word that the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock.
So this expert, Mr. Schoen's in agreement. It's impossible. What's the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert that the accused's instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What?
What?
Order! The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant will be made available. The accused will use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Aspen's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. But... This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed for the outset to end the life of the victim. Thank you, Lord Vancy. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth the witnesses. Gladly, my lord. Alright, ready to go already. Bailiff, show the first witness to stand. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration of the day in question and in charge of the following investigation. Albert Harebanks, this is a scientist. You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct? Yes, that's right. After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition. What you demonstrated was incredible, right? An incredible explosion. But the science is success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everyone saw it. They must have done. Yes, there was a terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success. Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by the forensic investigation team. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower ticket, the centerpiece of the exhibition, no less. That's right, my lord. Seems the victim ran straight into it. Oh boy. I see. Very well, submit the photograph as evidence. Okay, I would like to look at the photograph, actually. Okay. But, like, it looked like he was stabbed here. Oh boy. What a way to go. As the courts heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Audie Asman. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being, he was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself. I see. So, to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct? Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right. That must be it. My spending machine. My poor spending machine. You saw yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the records thanks to the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? But that being the case, how could it be facts be established? How could it be possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act? Extremely simply, my lord. I beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness? What? Sorry? Me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir, it was murder, plain and simple. Anyone can see that. What? How can you possibly think that? Thank you, Inspector. I think I had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experience to have been responsible for murder. The course that went crashing through the Crystal Tower had a broken neck. I had a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection. That's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he clearly been stabbed by something sharp into the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and Tusspells was the only one who could have done it. But he was on the ground. He wasn't even at the crystal tower. Extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart? Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have been all but instant for a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. No, and no. That couldn't be further from the truth. I have here the experiment file documentation submitted to the security team. The victim stood himself inside something called the bird cage, ready to be beaten instantly. To the second level of the crystal tower, about 25 yards away. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine is put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in mid-air. Oh, from where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the crystal tower's large round window. My word, one assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower then? I'm so sorry to me for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear it was just an accident, terrible accident. Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying? Just the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Your request is granted, counsel. Okay, autopsy report. I would like to read it.
I was there birthday, I saw the whole ludicrous performance.
Okay. Let's read it. Autopsy report details the victim, name Audie Asman, 47, British. 21st October, around 2:20 p.m. The coroner is Courtney Sith. Courtney? Cause of death, hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart inflicted by a sharp implement. Additional observations, a broken vertebra, most likely resulting from impact after sudden fall from considerable height. Okay.
I'm only out of person on the state of the assholes. It's a disgraceful excuse for scientists.
Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him.
Hard to think otherwise, really.
Very well. Counsel for the defense, proceed with a cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. Alright, guys. I think that'll be it for part 11? Yeah, I think it's part 11 for The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Thank you so much for watching, and next time we'll be going to the witness testimony for the third case. Alright, bye-bye. See y'all later.